Reporting for WVU News, I'm CJ Harvey. Sitting across from me is Blake Humphrey, senior economics and political science major from Wheeling, West Virginia, but most importantly, the 100th student body president here in West Virginia. Blake, congratulations and thank you for joining me.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, and so kind of starting out, tell me a little bit about the campaign. You campaigned for months. You know, what did you see? What did you hear? What was the student body telling you?
Well, we had a lot of fun with it. I think the thing that we were really able to do is kind of start a conversation with people across campus. I was really proud of the fact that despite the low voter turnout, we had very high engagement rates on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all forms of social media. And what that tells me is that people are really ready to be a part of this conversation. They want to talk about the issues that matter. They want to talk about things that are important to them. And they really do want to add their voice to sort of this growing chorus of students and people who love West Virginia University to really make changes on the issues that matter for them. So campaign was very exciting. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time with it, and we were able to connect with thousands of students, not only in person but also online. And we're really looking forward to carrying that through for the rest of our term in office as proactive communication and deliberative conversation all across campus with as many people as we can touch.
Yeah, well, I know that to run for president, you have to have 1,000 signatures. I read that you had just under 10,000 people that you really spoke with. You know, you've had your ear on the ground for quite some time. What are the students telling you? What have you heard that needs to be fixed? What are some of the issues that really stuck out?
Well, the way that I kind of put it, I like to think of sort of what we do with student government as sort of being a triage doctor in an ER. And the reason I say that is because so often what I find with people that have been involved with student government in the past is there'd be a tendency to say, you know, we know what the issues are, we know what students are thinking, we know what's really impacting people on campus. But when push came to shove, I kind of used the analogy of someone going into the emergency room with their arm chopped off and the doctor saying, well, you've got high blood pressure, here's some medication, we'll see you tomorrow. Really, for me, what we're doing is we're trying to take the pulse. We're trying to find out what's going on before we make the diagnosis, before we really say what's wrong. And you know, we hear a lot about a lot of different and a wide variety of issues. You know, I joked with people during the campaign that at one conversation I'd have with someone, I'd hear about transportation and parking, and then in the other conversation, I'd hear about someone's relationship problems. But I was open to anything and everything because I really did want to hear from people. And there are serious issues that impact our 30,000 friends here in the Mountaineer community, and we're really going to work on taking those at an individual and a case-by-case basis and working through those with students, but also at a broader level to making sure that we're advocating on the things that matter to students, like transportation and parking, and like professionalized academic advising, and like so many other issues that we heard throughout the course of the campaign.
How do you tackle so many issues? I mean, West Virginia, like you said, 30,000 students. It's a bigger community than most people think. How do you go about tackling as many possible issues as you can?
It's tough. I joke with people. I'm from Wheeling. I joke with people from back home. I think we have more students at WVU than we have people in the city of Wheeling. So,
feels like it sometimes.
So Mary Elliott and I are going to have similar roles in that sense. But you know, it is tough. But I think what we're doing is we're trying to create a student government that works for everyone, and not just from what I've seen historically as working for the privileged few. And we're going to place a very serious emphasis on having, you know, we're creating a constituent affairs department that is going to work specifically on making sure that every student has someone in student government that will work with them, document their progress, work on their issue, make sure that we're tackling those issues one by one. But then at the same time, we're going to have people that are working on big ideas. And I remember a couple of years back, President Gee and the university founded the Center for Big Ideas. And I've always thought that student government needs to have a voice on the big ideas and also the small ones to really make an impact and sort of drum up the conversation and make sure that everyone's a part of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I know before we even started this, you were reading me some emails about some former student body presidents. You know, did you have a conversation? I know that you were close with Julie Merrow. You know, what if some of the older student body presidents told you, and you know, any tips? What have they told you?
I hear a lot. Like I said, I just got an email this morning from one of our great student body president alumni, and great to hear from them. Great to get their feedback and insight. And I think that understanding the history of the position is really important. You know, every day when I walk back to the student government office, I see on the walls the pictures of all of the student body presidents, the 99 student body presidents that came before me, and I'm so lucky or unfortunate, I don't know that I'm the 100th because that's now 3 digits, but I've been able to really learn from them and learn from my predecessors because of the fact that they've reached out to me and I've reached out to them for advice, and they tell me that the job is challenging yet rewarding, and there's so many opportunities, and I'm really looking forward, though, to collaborating for the future, and also working with the tremendous people that are in the student assembly, the college representatives, and the student senators, and also my vice president and the entire executive staff and team that we're going to be creating over the next couple of days on making sure that we do have an SGA that works for everyone.
Yeah, and your official swearing-in ceremony is on Sunday, correct?
The ceremonial swearing-in, sir. So the ceremonial inauguration is on Sunday. We were sworn into office Wednesday evening, and then we'll do that on Sunday. And so yesterday was technically day one, and then next week will be week one, and then from there the rest is history.
So first order of business, what's first on the agenda?
Understanding what's going on. You got to get caught up, and you've got to really take the approach. And I've always tried to take this approach that you've got two ears and one mouth for reason. Because at first you need to listen more than you speak. So for me and for my entire team, it's really been an opportunity to listen, to meet. We've had over 85 executive applications, which is record-setting for a week. We've been able to listen to people that are trying to join our team. I've been able to have meetings and talk with people all across campus. I love when people stop and talk to me, although the people that I'm meeting with when I'm late sometimes don't like that. I love to stop and talk with people because, to me, that's how we're going to keep our ear close to the ground. That's how we're going to triage the issues, and that's how we're going to make sure that we are proactive and leading by listening.
Yeah, so it sounds like, the involvement, the voter turnout might have been low, but it sounds like the involvement has really picked up, and you're starting to see it yourself.
Voter turnout was unfortunately low, and as I said in an op-ed that I wrote for the DA, I understand why. I understood at the time why it was going to be low. Unfortunately, we have a bit of a system that needs fixed. And so I guess you could say, if we're talking about first orders of business, one of them that's going to be coming out here very soon is going to be a very broad and sweeping elections reform. We're going to be making a lot of changes to the elections code, and I'm confident that the people that we're going to be utilizing in key and critical positions to do that are people that have experience and people who also see the problem. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think honestly that was probably one of the first problems that people noticed. If anybody did fill out an SGA ballot, you look down the thing, the first thing you notice is that there's one party. Let's talk your party. Does it become your job now? You've been very active on social media. You said an op-ed in the DA about building competition. Does it become your job now to help drive and build competition?
I don't know if it's necessarily my job to go out and tell people to run or encourage people to run. Of course, I'll do that. But I think that what it now becomes is the institution of student government's job. We need cooperation. This is not going to be a one-person thing. This is going to be cooperation from the student assembly, from key stakeholders within SGA, key stakeholders outside of SGA for that matter. We need to really understand why this turnout issue is happening, and I think we know a large part of the reason why is we've created high barriers to entry. We've got to take big money out of these elections, and we've got to get with the 21st century and have online voting. That's so critical and so key. So I think when you start looking at it, all of those sort of coupled together really create sort of the recipe for a better election system for the next election and the next generation for student government.
Definitely. This single party idea, is it bad, or does it hurt the student body for 30,000 people to think that there is a single party, or is it something that it's not as big of a deal as people would think it is? Or is the goal here to get as many people to run, or is it to kind of drive two ideas and let the student body pick what they want to help run to run SGA?
Well, as we were talking earlier, I'm an economics major. Competition's a good thing. I've always thought that people competing and ideas competing and businesses competing and even for that matter, universities competing to provide the best product and service to their students is a good thing. So I'm disheartened by the fact that there was no competition. But when Shannon and I decided to get in the race, we did it because we wanted to put our vision forward of having a conversation that everyone could be a part of. And we believed in what we were doing. We didn't really care if we were opposed or unopposed or who our competition was, if we had 1 or 10. We believed in what we were doing, and we still do, and we still have that passion for this. But I think that what it might show is more of an underlying problem with student involvement and people feeling comfortable enough to get involved with student government. And one more thing I'll add is this. We've seen an influx of people that have been engaging in the conversation. I had a student come to me the other day, we were talking, and very critical of SGA. Had a lot of problems with SGA in the past and was very critical, but I sat there with open ears and open arms listening. Because even the people that love SGA, which if you're out there, let me know, and the people that might not like SGA as much, I want to listen to everyone. I want to be everyone's president and make sure that we're representing them, and maybe that interaction with that student, I don't know, but maybe it just changed their mind and gave them a perception change, and hopefully we can move forward together with that.
Is it a motivational thing that people were worried about?
Motivation to run.
The population?
Yeah.
Is it...
I think that we sometimes get caught up in this whole labeling of our generation as an apathetic generation. I don't believe that. I believe that our generation expresses itself in different ways rather than voting, although we need to vote. That can be whether it's through social media, which we saw 75,000 engagements on Twitter in a 4-day period, which was tremendous, or whether that's through other online platforms. I think that's how our generation gets engaged. And actually, in the coming weeks, student government is going to be doing a partnership. I'm premature on this, so all my people that have been working on this, whoops, I'm announcing it now, but we're doing a partnership with OSE, which is a new online advocacy app, and we're going to be encouraging every student to reach out to their state legislator on Facebook, on Twitter, give them a call, shoot them an email, and let them know that investing in West Virginia University's future is important to them. So there's just different ways of which our generation goes about things and engages in things, and I think that that's special, and that's something that student government needs to tap into. Another thing we're going to be working on is a rebrand. We've got to change our voice. We've got to change how we're marketing ourselves. We've got to change what we're putting out there, our content. And that's so important because the strategy of yesterday is not the reality of today, and the plan for tomorrow cannot be the strategy of yesterday. So that's something we're excited to do, is to do the rebrand, to change the perception, to open up the doors, to have conversations, to really lead by listening, and make it something that works for everyone.
Gotcha. Very interesting. Yeah, and kind of switching gears here, moving away from campus issues and the SGA. The Governor of Justice visited just a couple of days ago. Now I know that the two of you spoke after his talk.
I did, yeah.
What did you think about his comments, and what did the two of you talk about afterwards?
Well, first of all, I think he was dead on when he said that even in hard times, you've got to have people that have a steady head. I think that I appreciate the governor coming to campus and sharing his ideas and vision for West Virginia with us. It is quite encouraging to know that he does have such a strong resolve to make sure that higher education is robustly funded, and I would encourage and implore the state legislature to do the same. One thing that was very interesting about his talk is that he put forward ideas that were bold, ideas that I think may have not have been discussed before, may not have been put on the table before. One thing I will say, though, is I disagree on a couple of things. For example, I don't necessarily know if putting our state's revenue stream on the backs of a tax that is specifically aimed at changing consumer behavior is necessarily a good idea. But that's the beauty of all of this. We can have those conversations civilly and respectfully and in the spirit of being West Virginians to help really pull this thing and turn this thing around for West Virginia. And I've always thought that West Virginia University plays such an important role, not only in the local Morgantown economy, but in the state's economy as a whole. I mean, we have such a robust and vibrant and innovative and ingenuitive climate here on campus for creation and research and development, that is what is really helping to spur a large part of what is going on in the state. And investing in West Virginia's university means investing in West Virginia. And as any good business person knows, you've got to have capital to invest. So we need to really find a way to invest in the next generation and also invest in our state.
Well, somebody that I was speaking with about the town hall, they told me that they were upset that there was little clarification about the cuts that might be coming to higher education. Now, West Virginia University is going to take a hit in the budget, but do you think that there's a chance that the school, Morgantown, could be more severely impacted than expected? I mean,
I hope not. You hear the budget projections and the estimates and the targets all the time.
It's scary. Some of the
scary.
numbers are big and scary.
What we're hearing about potential cuts that would result in 23% increases in tuition are downright scary, and it's downright wrong to have our students feeling like their education is on the line because of what's going on in Charleston. I've called on the university to provide reassurance that even if that is the case, that we will all pull together to figure this out to make sure that every Mountaineer feels as if their place on campus is safe and secure. But the reality of it is that politics, unfortunately, has a game that it has to play at times, and a lot of the times it's the taxpayer and in this case the student that feel the brunt of it because of the fact that we're on the receiving end. We've seen our tuition increase here at WVU since since we've been here. It's gone up by upwards of 30 to 35%. And I don't necessarily blame the university for that. I think that a large part of it has come because of the fact that we've seen a continued decline in the amount of state appropriations that go towards higher education, and the natural and convenient place to shift any offset is from state revenues to tuition revenues. And that's unfortunately the reality that not only West Virginia University is facing, but universities across the country that are dealing with disinvestment from state government. I'll say this, the state of West Virginia really needs to fund West Virginia University, and for that matter, a lot of our institutions of higher learning, because of the value that they provide, the economic impact that they have on communities across the state and the state in general. Extension does a tremendous job of reaching out to 55 counties across the state. We have research on the ground in different parts of the state. We're helping to revitalize communities in Weirton and Harpers Ferry, and we're really playing a proactive role in making sure that West Virginia University is the leader, and that we keep West Virginia, the name of our state and the name of our university.
Yeah, and honestly, you're probably the most well-known ambassador between the school and representatives in Charleston, not just the administration here at West Virginia. Do you have a relationship in Charleston? I mean, what kind of, do you do much? I don't really kind of know what kind of role SGA takes on in terms of that.
They know me in Charleston. I made a couple of phone calls the other day, and talked with our local delegates here in Monongalia County, and have communicated with my friends back home, and also know the Senate President and the Speaker, and many other folks in Charleston. And I think that what's important right now is that we remain connected. And not only to people in Charleston, for that matter, we've got to remain connected also with our federal representatives as well. And I've been blessed to know Congressman David McKinley, Senator Capito, Senator Manchin, have established good friendships and working relationships with them over the years. And we've got to remain connected with them as well. So that feeds in nicely. One of our other initiatives that we're going to be working on is making sure that we have a truly robust and dynamic legislative affairs strategy for the university, and specifically for student government. I'd love to have monthly calls with legislative staffers across the state and across in Washington as well, to talk about issues that are directly impacting students and weighing in. And what's been very helpful in adding to that voice that we've been given is that we've been listening to students. We've been listening to the people that we represent. So we really feel comfortable in speaking from the heart and knowing that what we're saying is what's on the minds of the 30,000 friends that we represent here at the university.
Gotcha. Yeah, final question, kind of wrapping up. How do you get the most out of your term as president?
I think the way that we get the most out of it, and I see we got a question from someone who's tuned in. We talked about working with Marshall, and I've already talked with their president, Matt Jarvis. Jake is our DA editor. Matt Jarvis, all the Jarvises from Huntington. Matt Jarvis. I think that we've got to work with those people. We've got to work with our allies and our peer institutions here in the state, at Marshall and Shepherd and West Liberty and across the state, and our regional campuses for that matter too. I've reached out to Potomac State and Parkersburg and Tech, and working with them. But we've also got to make sure that we take advantage of every opportunity to reach out with our Big 12 colleagues as well, and be engaged in that conference. We're going to Washington next week to do some advocacy to our federal elected officials. But I think that how we're going to get the most out of this is we're going to continue to do what we've been doing all along, which is starting a conversation, having that conversation, being proactive and deliberative about that conversation. I jokingly said, and it wasn't really a joke because I was serious, I said during the campaign that I was going to make sure that every week, at least 1 hour a week, I went out with the orange sticky notes that I had throughout the course of the campaign, in the course of the signature process, and talk to people and see what's on their mind, and reach out to health sciences and be more present here on Evansdale. We're here at the new Evansdale Crossing in the Innovation Center, and be more present here on Evansdale at our campuses, at Engineering and the Creative Arts Center. So there's a lot to take out of it, and that's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to also be continuing to build a working relationship with WVU News and the DA and U92 and other entities on campus. But really remaining grounded, I think, to the people that put us here and to the people that put their faith in us, whether it was people that voted or people that didn't. The countless and thousands of people that put their faith in us to be their voice. We want to continue to be that voice.
And do you think that there needs to be more of a reconnecting process, or is it more of a strengthening process between SGA and the rest of the colleges throughout the school and the Morgantown community?
If we've got to recalibrate and reconnect. That's kind of the phrase that I've been using, and we've got to reform. We've got to adapt to, like I said, a 21st century university and make sure that we've got a 21st century SGA. We've got to recalibrate on the fronts of making sure that we're engaged and proactive in establishing good relationships like we talked about with Matt Jarvis down at Marshall and with student body presidents across the state. We've got to make sure that we're recalibrating our relationships with our colleges. We added the college representatives into our student assembly. Good start. Now we got to continue that. We've got to continue to work on those fronts with those people. And like I said, at the end of the day, recalibrate and give people hope again that SGA can work for them, it can work for everyone, it can be a place for big ideas and innovation and creativity, and that's what we're really hoping to do.
Yep. Well, for WVU News, I'm CJ Harvey. Blake, again, thank you very much for meeting with me. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.